Good to see you.
Yes, good to see you.
So you have a surprise for me today.
I do. You are very inspiring.
Thank you, Catherine. Well, I'm all ears. So welcome to Cloud Moon New Beginnings, episode 15. And today I have a very special guest. Special welcome to my friend Catherine Carrard. And we wanted to do a collaboration together. So we talked about translating some of her poems from French to English and that way. And then suddenly, Catherine was inspired to sort of flip the tables on me and interview me. So she has created some questions that I don't know what the questions are yet. And we're happy to share our discussion with you. So here we go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. That's so fun, exciting to be on your, I would say, your program.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, what's behind this channel, Cloud Moon New Beginnings? Because behind every video lies a story, and behind every story, a storyteller. So I'm really, honored and happy to be with you today. And because I really enjoy your creativity and your passion, and I can feel it through the video you are posting. So Priscilla, welcome to this friendly conversation from one friend to another. And I've prepared some questions for you, like you said in your introduction. So let's dive right in.
Okay.
Priscilla, does your name have a particular meaning to you or for you?
Well, it's an old name. There's 7 generations of Priscillas behind me in my family, my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and so on. And I've looked it up. It means of ancient times. So the name Priscilla, I guess, has to mean something like family connection. It's the woman's lineage. Every name changes when the women get married. So it's kind of difficult to follow or find the ancestors through the women's side. So that also sort of is part of what I feel when I think about my name.
Thank you. What is one essential thing to know about you that does not appear in your videos?
I can say, well, it doesn't have my picture, but that's not essential. I feel like maybe the essential things are there. I care, and I want to contribute in a positive way, help create a better world for living beings. And I don't really know how to do that, but by imagining and putting out and sharing, that's how things are created. That's how we sort of came together, Catherine, exploring what is creativity. We created the situation we're in now as a global society. We can be a little bit more conscious and choose what we want to create, being a little bit more informed or a little bit more intuitive or a little bit more like conscious. and how we affect the world when we live in it. And so I hope that the essential comes through the videos. It might not be seen or identifiable.
But it's there.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. How do you feel right now after question 2?
Yeah, I appreciate our friendship, and I feel a little emotional.
I feel emotional too. Okay. What inspired you to create this YouTube channel, and was there a decisive moment that triggered everything?
Yes, I would say yes. What inspired me to do it was a series of inquiries for a few years, really, or, for years. Sort of, who am I, or what is my essence, or what do I really care about the most? I've done a lot of exploration in different groups. Different people have encouraged me along the way and offered ways to clarify and encourage, or to build my courage, or I think really build my recognition of myself. We have a lot of layers of what other people might think that we should do or how we should be, depending upon your surroundings. And so I've been working on it for a while, moving, and this just appeared as a creative vehicle, an inexpensive creative vehicle, where I could share what I love and how I might feel about things and what's important to me, and also have an invitation for collaboration such as this, that it's not just about me, what do other people, what would they like to share? Have a place to express. And it's really an amazing media, visual and sound and thoughts or feelings. And I would mention my friend Nick Haynes. I've been working with him for a while. And you, Catherine, we've been meeting regularly for a while. So I had the idea for a YouTube channel in one of Nick's classes, but I couldn't make it happen. And then I was on a call with Ken Honda, and he's another person out there that encourages people to do what they love, and offer what they can, offer their gifts, offer your gifts. It's a natural process. And he just said something like, you should just share yourself. I've heard him say, don't be stingy.
Don't be
stingy.
Stingy, yeah.
Share yourself. Share what you love. It's kind of that simple. Share what you love. Share it. And it's just a culmination of a lot of everything, coming together. And then I just started, and I've been consistent, which is very unusual for me. So I'm excited about that. And I never know the next week what it's going to be about, but I kind of have ideas that just come in. So that's really lovely to experience. I think we talked about that once when we did a program on creativity, and how the thing that wants to be created has a spirit of its own,
Correct. Yes.
And so it's not just one party or two parties or two people. There's something that wants to be born. And I think, and I hope that there's a a world that wants to be born that's a kinder, more gentle world for humans and for all living things. So I would like to contribute in that direction.
I hear you. And the muse is always around.
Exactly.
Isn't she? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
If your channel had a signature scent, what kind of fragrance would it be? And what feelings or memories would it evoke?
I would say sandalwood. Sandalwood evokes, peaceful moments, quiet times, and a sense of connecting to something I can't see.
What does authenticity mean to you? And in what ways do you strive to keep your channel true to this value?
Well, I think authenticity has a lot of different meanings. And as far as the channel goes and authenticity, I try to listen to what's coming up for the next episode. And I try to not worry what other people might think. And at the same time, I hope it might be helpful. So that's kind of a little contrasting thing going on. And I love it that it doesn't cost anything, really. If you have Wi-Fi and if you have a computer, of course, you'd have to have that. And even the CapCut that I use to create the videos, they have a free version. Mm-hmm. So I love that. And, it sort of keeps me company. Yeah. I listen to them to calm myself down sometimes. If I'm lonely, I can I can listen. Sometimes I feel like I'm kind of talking to myself, but of course I'm happy if it helps somebody or they think something's beautiful. Yeah, so I think the authenticity is trying to listen to, like what we said, what wants to appear and not worrying about what exactly that might be,
Kind of be detached of the...
I try to. I really do try to, because that's part of my practice to, not to be detached in the sense of not caring or separate from, but not holding on to expectations, although I may have hopes, yes. Yeah, positive repercussions.
Mm. And what is one of the most unexpected or touching reactions you have received?
There are a couple of reactions. One might be somebody saying, "Oh, I'm so happy you're doing this. I can feel piles upon piles of things that I would like to create coming to the surface as well." In the beginning, a lot of people just talked about my voice. And that kind of touched me, because when I've wondered, well, what do I do with myself in life? Sometimes I would hear your voice. I had this feeling that I would use my voice, but I didn't know how to use my voice. And, you don't have to wait for somebody to recognize you to use your voice. Like there's that thought out there, someone has to discover you, has to discover your voice. But actually, with the way things are right now, anybody could have a YouTube channel. If you had something you wanted to say, so I'm really happy that somehow I'm using my voice. Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. Your soothing voice, the voice of the storyteller.
Yeah, I think that's also ties into what you said about authentic, not expecting your voice to be a certain thing all the time. it's going to change. Yeah.
Yeah. What challenges have you faced while creating and developing your channel, and how did you overcome them?
I think the challenge is to trust that something will come for the next week. There was a certain point where I was like, oh my gosh, how long am I going to do this? Every week for,
Yes,
for
that's
how long?
commitment.
But I haven't been disappointed yet. And that's really kind of fun, You don't really have a plan, but things appear. I think also the challenge is to eat properly and make sure that I don't get too obsessed, with finishing thing and making a sort of a reasonable schedule for myself and putting it together.
That's important.
Yeah.
Through your videos, what would you deeply like to change or awaken in your audience? You touched on this before, but maybe as we approach to the end of our conversation, what would you say?
Well, I think for me, the process of creating the videos is also awakening something in myself. It's a very interesting process, and I don't know if I can describe it exactly, but if it can help people to be more peaceful, if it can help people to love themselves more, to recognize that we're all unique and we all are here for a reason, and we're not separate from the world around us. If we could all become kinder and more compassionate and understanding, and I think really if education could change, I think that how we educate ourselves and how we educate our children, what we put them through, sometimes thinking it's the best thing. How can we recognize in each other the gifts of other people? How can we encourage each other to explore those? It would be like a whole awakening of myself and other people. And I know it seems like we have so many problems. How could we possibly solve them? But if we just start, just start, try. What will we learn along the way?
I agree. May I share something?
Yes.
Because I see you reflecting, and what comes to my mind is the title of your channel, Cloud, Moon, New Beginnings.
Right.
Perhaps you can talk about this.
Sure. Well, Cloud Moon is a name somebody gave me one time. And I think there's a reference to kind of like the mystery of things. The clouds go in front of the moon and things aren't always what they seem. And I'll just share what comes up. It may not be true at all, but like there's no hard fact. I mean, facts don't really explain things. I mean, not the whole picture. It's a perspective. But Cloud Moon is like kind of the transient nature of things. And you think about a cloud in front of the moon, I mean, it evokes a certain feelings, or maybe among people, I don't know about animals, but maybe. I don't know if they can see that far up.
Yeah.
But so that's where Cloud Moon And new beginnings is because every moment is a new beginning. And that's how it came together. That's sort of like, I guess you could say, what I wanted, the essence of. I wanted to stay kind of true to that, and have that openness of new beginnings every moment.
Priscilla, one question I wanted to ask, or I'm happy to ask, is about the story of the little frog that we can see at the very beginning. And I observe and I hear her sound, and sometimes I can't remember now if we see her, but we see her sometimes, but we hear her sound. And I was wondering if you'd like to say a little bit more about this friend.
Sure. That was a wonderful experience that I really had, when I lived in Japan for a while, and we lived in the countryside, and our washing machines are outside, and I was out doing laundry, and there was a little frog there, and we had this exchange, this conversation, and in the end he jumped on my face and climbed up to the top of my head, and I picked him up, and we sort of had this conversation again. No words or anything, but just he would play on my hands, and so I was really moved by that, this communication, that we had. And so I always sort of feel like the spirit of frog is part of me. And so I think it's fun to put a little voice in, He's still on that. He's still present in the videos, and
Yes.
and participating in that connection, or that reminder that our life is not, or this world is not just for humans. We have a lot of companions along the way, and I'm not, I grew up in a modern America, and I've always loved nature. I have so much more to learn, but that was a very, you could say, profound experience I had that I don't forget. And so he's my little companion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's your signature. Thank you. And I really treasure your, it's not courage, but, being bold in jumping into, answering the questions without knowing them, and showing your authenticity, your vulnerability, and with a big smile on your face and on my face, I really say thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you for this time.
Thank you for joining us on Cloud Moon New Beginnings. And thank you, Catherine, for a lovely time together. For more information on Catherine Carrard, Nick Haynes, or Ken Honda, please check the comments under the video. And thank you, Catherine, for offering some of your images here, your beautiful painting in Switzerland, and your engravings teapot. Thank you for joining us on Cloud Moon New Beginnings. a new post every Saturday.